And now I hear over the break that there's heaps of questions for the acting chief executive on the So let the grilling begin.
Yes. Thank you. I don't know whether I will enthusiastically say as the Mayor, please feel free to interrogate me. But just want to sort of highlight a few things in the report. You'll see from that front page that we've had a lot of focus recently on emergency response and recovery. So we've had the tsunami report, the preparedness for the cyclone Debbie, which didn't impact as much as we thought, thank goodness, the fire response, but also for all of those moving into reviews, the review stage and the recovery phase. So we have completed the tsunami review, as we spoke earlier. We're starting our review on the fire, but we also are contributing to the national operational review by fire around that event. You will get back next month early next month, the recovery plan for the Port Hill fire, as well as that tsunami review, and then should be shortly after that our review from the fire as well. We also, the other thing to highlight is in this report it mentions the awards that we gained through Solgum, and I think that actually last time I was sitting in this chair I mentioned those because they've just come through. So today I'd actually also like to highlight another couple of awards that same team received last night or yesterday. So the consenting group received the Commitment to Customer Service and Excellence and also the Innovator of the Year, and that was from the Building Officials Institute of New Zealand. So fantastic work by that consenting group. And actually, I see that people have got their heads up, so I'll just skip over the other things and take them as read, unless anyone's got any questions.
Yep.
No, it was an affirmative comment on that consents. At the time we lost it, and I think Yanni will agree with me, two very user-friendly cabinet ministers, amongst many, were Maurice Williamson and Chris Tremaine, and they were great. And Maurice Williamson said, we want you to fly across the line. So it's good to, those were his words back then, and it's good to see this now that we actually have done that. Yep. So,
and also you'll see from the report just not remaining static, so still continuing to put new improvements in place. So see on page 3 there's mention of the new programs and fast tracking.
Yep. Andrew?
Thank you. Under transport, under city services, delighted to see that the first of the cycleways to be completed will be the Little River Link. Is there any celebration planned to mark the opening of that cycleway? It's a huge achievement. I mean, all the work that the various teams have put into making those cycleways happen, to see the first one completed, absolutely brilliant. I'm really keen to see some kind of a celebration to mark the opening of that.
Link with Selwyn, isn't it?
This is the one that goes from Moorhouse Avenue right the way out to Little River.
Yep. So we have got our transport people here. Do you have a event planned?
We picked this up at the ETI committee yesterday, though, and staff assuring us that they've got things in place, especially for the Papanui Parallel, which is shortly after. It's about 2 weeks away.
We're trying to work with the Minister's office, Minister of Transport's office to do it. Trying to get a note out to say where we're at with it all today.
Right, thank you.
Thanks.
Very good. Any other questions? Yanni?
The question that I had before around the whole way in which peacocks go up, those massive projects that are still happening post-earthquake, how they're reported back to the community board and to the public. And I am concerned, we were told at the community board, I think that there would be no consultation and no decision making regarding that they would just happen. But if you think of Riccarton Road, that's a pretty massive project there. It's, to me, a similar sort of project. So it would be good to get some clarity around when things will come to us for sign off before they go out for consultation and before work starts.
So I did transfer that question down to the team when you asked it earlier. So are you able to respond now, or?
Peacock Gallop is part of the Sumner Corridor that is done underneath the non-skirt program, which is part of the cost share agreement. And so the whole corridor has been out for consultation. The issue that we've got at the moment is the broken sewer main that serves all of Sumner. We couldn't get in there because it was sitting underneath the containers. And so we couldn't do anything until the containers were lifted off. And so as soon as they are, we've redone the design and we are going in to replace it now as part of that government non-skirt program as part of the cost share. So that's going in now, and then on top of that will become the pavement there, and we are working through the final details of that, including the safety rail on it. There are a few areas around, and I sent an email or a thing around Mower Point, where we're going to change the traffic. That at Peacock's Gallop is going to be replaced like with like at this stage. However, it's going to be built, and we will come back and consult regarding the coastal pathways, which is going to go on the outside. So the two will be linked. We sent out a memo on Mower Point, for example, because we're going to change the traffic layout, and that will have to be a decision of councils of whether they're prepared to shift bus stops, look at no stopping lines, etc., etc. I think, help me here, we gave a timetable of that. Hopefully the work will be done by Christmas. That period, the corridor, we have got an extension of the 83% subsidy we get from NZTA until June 2018. So we've got really a 14-month window to finish that work.
So does that answer your question?
No, so is there going to be like a report, is there going to be public consultation on it?
Did you catch that, Dave? Is there going to be a report?
Basically,
public consultation?
We wouldn't normally, when we're putting there will be public consultation on Mower Point because basically we are changing things. When we come and do the coastal pathway, that final piece from basically Redcliff's right through to the surf club, there will be consultation on that. There will have to be resource consents on that because it will somehow, I'm not sure exactly the detail, it'll either get piled into the coastal area or it may overhang the coastal area. Look, I don't know the whole details. So there will be quite extensive consultation on the finish of that product, incorporating how all those components link up. In the short term, we are just replacing about 200 metres of pavement, but we are putting that safety barrier in there as part of that. Out of safety improvements, I think, probably, because that's not part of replacement of the corridor because there wasn't a proper safety barrier there prior to the earthquake.
So would it be possible just to get a memo out just outlining the broad timeline in terms of when community boards will hear and when there'll be consultation and when reports will come to council? Because that's your
I think that would be really useful because part of the problem, like in this corridor, we've had feedback from people like they didn't like the design of the fences, but there was a project team that was making decisions. There was no community board or council decision making. So people felt really alienated from actually the process, and I'd be really concerned if that was the same approach, because I think it's really important that the local community can feel that they can put their views forward and there's a local democratic decision making around that.
So I've just got the nod that we will send out a timeline just giving dates of when those things are going to happen.
Yeah, so what's not been consulted on, what has been consulted on, and if people have concerns, how they can express those. That'd be really useful.
Cheers.
Thank you.
Yep. Anything, David?
Look, I just noted Leonie has returned to the room, and as chairman of the Regulatory Performance Committee, I would really just like to acknowledge the great work that does continually come out of this unit, and they are very motivated in terms of continuous improvement. There is always something new on the boil in that department, so things are evolving all the time, and they are responding to the changes in our building climate. We are shifting more to a commercial focus in the city now. Residential has peaked and is tapering off, and the unit continues to adjust to these changes in their workload, and at the same time does put a lot of effort into continuous improvement, so well done.
Very good. Sarah?
Thank you. Just a quick follow-on from what Yanni was talking about. I think it's fair to say that the community in Sumner are really, really looking forward to having that section of road done. I mean, it's going to be very disruptive having it dug up and lanes and things shut on and off. But actually, anyone who's driven out there knows that the surface is incredibly poor, as it is round Marrowbone Cave as well. The community is going to be really, really pleased to have consultation on the changes around Marrowbone Cave, because they've been asking for a long time to be able to have pedestrian access back for safety of kids getting to school in that area. So that's going to be really, really good. Really looking forward to that. The coastal pathway, especially the section from Tram Stop around onto actually Sumner Beach there, it is essential work. There is currently no proper formed path. It is dangerous. The guardrails will be going in as part of the roadworks, but actually the pathway itself, and Council has a previous resolution, poorly worded, from about 2 years ago, that does ask to prioritise pedestrian access in areas that have been affected by the rockfall remediation works, and so really looking forward to getting that done in conjunction with the coastal pathway.
Very good. Pauline.
Sorry, a very quick question. You may not be able to answer it, so it doesn't matter, but the wheelie bin stock take, so how do they do that? Do they do that from the bins that are out on the footpath? And my question really is, what about the bins that people have got, like, round the back? Is there any sort of an amnesty program or any encouragement for people just to ring up? And I know someone that's got two, they only put one out and they don't know what to do with the other one. So what do people do about that?
What we do is we go in and we put a lot of information into a small area, and it's actually a separate crew that goes in and does that reconciliation, and then at the same time we are chipping each one of those bins and we are registering them with a IRD number or whatever the number's called, and so a rapid read number, and so then they get registered. Then if bins come out after that collection, they become an unknown bin, and we will then deal with that bin as they come out. We believe we've probably found about 15,000 bins that are in wrong location, maybe came out of red zone, people that have got multiple bins and so that. So it's actually making a very good job. My understanding, they haven't done my area, but the understanding is that it's quite thorough and people have brought into the process.
So what you're saying is once your area comes up, then people get all the information they need about it. That's great.
It's a separate crew that goes in and identifies, and it's not done as part of the collection, it's a separate.
Yep, I see. Oh, thanks, Dave.
That's Glenn Livingston.
Oh, thank you. Rubbish. Yeah, just the bins in the Burwood-Pegasus area. I mean, we lost 2 entire suburbs and big areas. That's a lot of bins. So I'd like to know what's happened to those bins, please, and also why we can't find a way of redistributing them where people reasonably need them. In special cases, I know we've got kind of contractual arrangements which have to be strict, and there's questions over precedent setting, but I've run into several. I can think of a man in the chair who needs another yellow bin. He's the coach of a prominent sports person, for what that's worth. But he needs a special bin for his medical requirements, but there's no flexibility. And it frustrates the daylights out of me and a lot of people. Is there a way we can actually tackle this?
In Council's rules, you can't get extra red bins, and potentially if he's got medical waste that may need a red bin, it might be special waste, maybe rubbish that shouldn't go into our bins anyway if it's something. But you can get bigger green bins and you can get bigger yellow bins. Admittedly, you pay for them, and we are working at the moment with waste management, because we do believe some people have a really nice garden, they want a bigger bin and they have to pay for it. Well, maybe that's the wrong incentive and the amount. So we are looking at ways we structure the funding of additional capacity. Apparently you can only get, at this point, 1 yellow bin per household, and some people, for whatever reason, want more than 1 yellow bin. And so we are looking at that with waste management, about how we structure the funding of those extra resources, because the more you can get into the recycling bin or the composting bin, the less we get in our red bin, which is our objective.
Very good. All right, so have we got a mover and a seconder? Not yet. Moved by Pauline, seconded by Mike. I'll put that motion. All those in favour say aye. Those opposed say no. That's carried.